discussing Hegel's model of the divine state. Yes. We started our discussion on Hegel's model of the divine state, specifically with reference to the foundational concept on human nature. The modern state of Hegel is designed on Hegel's basic assumption, the postulate of human nature. It is the foundational concept therefore. The entire edifice of the divine state of Hegel is built on the nature and propensities of human beings as assumed and postulated by Hegel. And regarding the foundational concept, as I have already noted, man is essentially a divine. This is his foundational concept, his belief. And when he says that man is essentially divine, he means that in man there is the highest part of the divine or God in man. Man is a divine being because God is present in man to the greatest extent. And that God, the concept of God, so far as Hegel's understanding is concerned, is formless. God is formless. He doesn't have a form. The Vedanta concept of Nirakara Brahma. God has no akar, no form, no shape. This is also identical in the Christian concept of healing. So that God, who is understood or comprehended by Hegel as formless, is present as universal consciousness. This aspect must be taken note of. For understanding not merely Hegel's concept of human nature, the foundational concept, but also his concept of state, his theory of state. Why he calls his theory of state the model of the divine state can be understood, provided to understand his concept of God as formless, present as universal consciousness. God is consciousness. God is universal consciousness. God is the ultimate reality of the entire universe, is the creator of the universe. Each and everything that we find in this universe or observe in this universe are the creations of God. Nothing can take shape in this universe. Nothing can take form. Nothing can exist or continue to exist without the will of God. This is the basic belief of Hegel. A belief which he has formed in himself because of the tremendous influence of Spinoza, the then great philosopher of Germany. No, Spinoza is not philosopher. And also the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher. This Protestant view of Christian life, Christian God. These Christian thinkers, they do not subscribe to the Catholic interpretation of God or understanding of God. They view God as formless, as consciousness, almost identical with the Vedanta concept of India. And that formless God is the ultimate creator of this universe. Therefore, he is the unlimited authority, the final authority or ultimate authority. God is the ultimate authority. He is all powerful, omnipotent, almighty. No one can challenge him, no one can question him, no one can control him. It's beyond control because he himself is the creator. So he is all powerful. He is the authority, ultimate authority. He is not merely the ultimate reality as the creator, but he is also the ultimate authority of the universe. And that God is present as consciousness in all his creations. In nature, in plants, in animals, in human beings, he is present. And because he is present as consciousness, all these objects that he has created exist in this universe. And among human beings, that universal consciousness is found to have been manifested or present to the highest extent. Therefore, man is considered to be the highest of God's creation, divine creation. And he is the divine being. He is essentially a divine being. Why? Because that universal consciousness, who is termed as God, is present to the greatest extent only in human beings, to a lesser extent in animals, again to a lesser extent in plants, again to a dormant extent in nature. This is his concept of human beings. So man represents in him the presence of that universal consciousness of God, and therefore he is essentially one. And because of the presence of this divinity in him, man also cherishes the divine qualities, as we have already discussed in last class. What are the divine qualities? The divine qualities are qualities relating to liberty, equality, and fraternity. These are the divine qualities. And why these are the divine qualities? These qualities are associated with God as the ultimate authority. He is all powerful. Therefore, he is completely free. There is absence of restraint on him. He is not controlled by anyone. Therefore, freedom essence to be the essence of God. Liberty is the essence of God. The essence of gist of God is liberty and freedom. And it is from this value or attribute or quality of liberty, the attribute of equality and the attribute of fraternity are deduced. So God does not discriminate. God treats all his creations with equality. God wishes that all his creations, especially the human beings who are the highest creations, must live in peace and order, must have universal brotherhood and fraternity among themselves. No individual, no human being is expected to do harm to others. It's not God's creation. Every human being is expected or intended by God to love his fellow human beings who are also God's creations. So these values, value of liberty, value of equality, and value of fraternity, these are interrelated. These are divine qualities, therefore, divine attributes. God is a universal consciousness, is therefore characterized by these divine attributes or qualities. And because man is the highest of God's creation, man is essentially the divine being, the individual also cherishes these divine values. See here, why an individual should cherish the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity in his life, in his interactions with others? This is the reason. Because man represents God to the highest extent as consciousness. Man must also represent divine qualities as well. Man also cherishes freedom and liberty to the greatest extent in his life. So every individual considers himself as an aid in himself. Every individual desires to enjoy and exercise freedom or liberty. No one wishes to be controlled by others. Because that sense of restraint is a defining attribute. That is, liberty is a defining attribute of God. And therefore, man being the highest of God's creation also cherishes for, wishes for that liberty. So every human being desires to enjoy and exercise liberty to the greatest extent possible. Every individual, therefore, considers himself as an aid, never as a means. Every individual is therefore expected to see all his human beings as aids in themselves, never as means. If I consider myself as an aid, I must also consider you, each of you, as aids in themselves, because you are also divine creations. God is also present in each of you to the highest extent. Therefore, I must treat all of you with equality, with respect, with dignity. I am not, as a human being, I am not expected to discriminate among you. I am not expected to ill-treat you, misbehave you. I am not expected to cause harm to you in my thought, words, or deeds. I must respect you with dignity. Therefore, there is no place for exploitation, violence in God's creation, and therefore in human relations. There is no place at all. It is because of this concept that Gandhi also derived the concept of ahimsa. What is that ahimsa? Why ahimsa? Why non-violence? Gandhian concept. You must understand it. Because Gandhi also finds the presence of God in man. And therefore all human beings are equal. Must be treated with equality. No one should do harm or violence to anyone. It's fellow humans. This is the concept of ahimsa. If you do hinsa or exploitation or if you misbehave anyone, you are a fellow human being, you are going against God. If I misbehave her, I am misbehaving God, not her. I am going against God. This is the concept, philosophical concept. So God is present in all human beings. Therefore, every human being must cherish the value of equality, must treat all his human beings with equality, with any discrimination, without any discrimination. And when every human being treats his fellow human beings with dignity, respect, equality, the consequence is fraternity. Brotherhood, peace, love, affection. This is the natural consequence. So these are the divine values which are also present in man, or expected to be present in man, because man is the highest of God's creation. As a human being, each of us are expected to cherish and practice these values of liberty, equality, and fraternity, because these are the divine qualities. We inherit these qualities from God. We inherit our existence from God. We owe our existence to God. We are the highest of God's creations, and therefore we must cherish these values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Not only in our own life, but in our relationship with others. This is the philosophy. So when Hegel says man is essentially a divine being, the implication is every human being must be conscious of the fact, must make himself aware that he is the highest of divine creation, and therefore he must cherish and practice these divine values of liberty, equality, and fraternity in his own life and in his interactions with others. And this man, in whom God is present, has consciousness to the greatest extent, has also a physical body. Because it is in this physical body, which is also a gift of God. This physical body has not been made out of nothing, no. This is also created by God. Can you create a drop of blood on your own? No. Not at all. Whatever scientific researches you undertake, you will not be able to, until date, no one has been able to create in laboratories a drop of blood. Therefore, there is need for blood donation. Why? Blood cannot be artificially created. It has to be donated from individual to individual. So this physical body is also the gift of God. And within this physical body there resides this consciousness, that universal consciousness. This universal consciousness of God is present in man as consciousness in this physical body. It is this consciousness which is present in us that directs us to undertake activities. So whatever we are doing, all our thinking, all our activities, all our behavior are directed and motivated by God's will, God's consciousness which is present in us. It is not benthamite utility that determines human motivations and activities and behavior. It is divine consciousness. God is present in human beings, in this physical form, in this body, as consciousness, directs human beings, motivates human beings to undertake activities. So this body must be maintained, must be sustained, must be propagated, must be nourished. Physical needs of this body must be fulfilled. If this body will not be maintained, this body will die. And where that consciousness will reside? God as consciousness also needs a physical body as human body, in which he resides and in which he will undertake activities. So physical body must be maintained, sustained, nourished and propagated. Physical needs of life are food, clothes, shelter, warmth must be satisfied. So you are not expected to remain hungry or thirsty. You are not expected to undertake suicide and to kill your own body, to destroy your own body. No. If you do suicide, you are going against the will of God. You are committing the greatest sin on this earth. God has given you this body with a definite purpose. You cannot misuse this body. You cannot use this physical body on the basis of your own selfish likes or dislikes. Behind every creation of God, there is a definite purpose. Without any purpose, nothing has been created. So, individual or human being has no choice of his own. He has no choice. Everything is done by human. So in man, says Hegel, there are two needs. One is the moral needs of the individual, spiritual needs of the individual, and the other one is the physical needs of the individual. Human being has a physical body, and in the physical body, God is present as consciousness. And the presence of God makes the individual to cultivate and cherish these values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. These are moral values. It makes the individual sociable, rational at the same time. Makes the individual gregarious. At the same time, the individual has a physical body which must be sustained, maintained, nourished, propagated on acquiring and appropriating physical needs of life for food, clothes, and shelter. See here the composition of the individual's body. He is both a soul and a physical body. Soul is the individual's consciousness. Soul is the presence of God. And this physical body is the place in which he lives, the house in which the soul lives. This body is therefore a house, the residence of that soul, the residence of that universal consciousness. Therefore, Hegel is of the opinion that presence of that universal consciousness in man generates him a will, what may be termed as the real will. Presence of that consciousness in man, that presence of the soul in man, which is the presence of God, that generates in the individual a will, a desire, propensities. Will is the propensity of the individual, desire of the individual. A desire for sociability, a desire to be rational, a desire to be moral. Because these divine qualities, liberty, equality, and fraternity, can be cultivated and practiced provided the individual becomes sociable. So the individual doesn't intend to lead an isolated life. He is a social, gregarious animal being. The individual wishes to live with his fellow human beings, wishes to form the society, because there is presence of the social instinct in him. Because unless the individual becomes sociable, gregarious, rational, these values, divine values, cannot be cultivated, cannot be practiced. So for cultivation and practice of these divine values, there emanates in the soul of man or psychology of man and a will and desire, what here terms as the real will. Real will is therefore the divine will. Real will is therefore the selfless will. It is the selfless desire of the individual to do good to others, to treat all human beings with equality, with fraternity, with love, with affection, with goodwill. So this is the rational will of the individual. Because of the presence of this real will in man, the individual is capable of making a distinction between what is objectively good or bad, what is right or wrong, what is just, what is unjust, what he should do, what he should not do. And this will, real will, is present in each of you. Each of you is capable of making a distinction between what is good or bad, what is right or wrong, what is just or unjust, what you should do or what you should not do as a human. You are conscious. You are capable of making a distinction and decision. God has given that quality in you, that capacity in you, because God Himself is present in you as consciousness. So these divine qualities, like liberty, equality, and fraternity, can be practiced only if this real will is put into action. This real will, therefore, is the selfless will of the individual. It is the moral will, rational will, and sociable will of the individual. So presence of that real will, that desire to become rational, moral, sociable, elevates man nearer to God. Because this is the divine. It makes a man a human being in the true sense of the term, because the essence of man is his divinity. Man is essentially a divine being. So divinity is the essence of the individual, and you can become divine in essence, provided you exercise your real will and become rational, moral, and sociable in your thinking, in your activities. So it is this real will which constitutes the true self of the individual. The true self of the individual, the essence of the individual as a human being is his divinity. If you do not practice this divinity in you, you can never be called as a human being. You downgrade yourself to the level of a beast. So a human being is expected to elevate himself, not to downgrade himself. A human being is expected to maintain and practice a divinity, that is humanity in him. What is that humanity? Practice of the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. The other name of this combination is justice. What is justice? How do you define justice? You are using the terms. What is justice? Justice is the synthesis of the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. These are the fundamental terms of terminology that you must become aware of for understanding clearly the concepts. You are using the term justice. What is the justice? Synthesis of these values or qualities of liberty, equality. These three values must be synthesized, fused together in your thinking, in your activities. Then there will be justice. So, the true self of the individual is his divine self. The true self which is formed on the basis of his real will. The real will is therefore the divine will. The real will is therefore the selfless will. The real will is therefore moral, rational, and social. Socially. The gregarious will of God. See here the divinity or humanity. What is that humanity? What is that rationality? To become moral. What do you mean by moral? To cultivate the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. That is morality. At the same time, as well, in Hegel's conceptualization, the individual has a physical body which must be sustained, maintained, nourished, propagated. This body must live. And the physical needs of this the physical needs of life of this body must therefore be appropriated and used by the individual for his very physical sustenance. For satisfaction of the physical needs of life of this human body, the physical needs emanate from another will of the individual related to this physical body, and that is the actual will. Actual will is related to this physical body. The maintenance of this physical body, sustenance of this physical body, nourishment of the physical body, propagation of this physical body, by way of satisfaction of the physical needs of life for food, clothes, shelter, and warmth. These physical needs must be sustained, must be satisfied. And the desire for satisfaction of these physical needs of life emanate from this actual will of the individual. So actual will is the bodily will of the individual. Actual will is concerned with this physical body of the individual. Actual will is not concerned with the divinity of the individual. Because there we have a physical body, in our psychology it's formed an actual will, a bodily will, that creates bodily needs for satisfaction. For food, clothes, shelter, warmth, we find the need for satisfaction. So that this physical body will be sustained, maintained, nourished, and provided. And as long as this physical body lives, the soul or that divine consciousness resides in it. This is the guest house. This is the residence. So in man or individual, according to Hegel, there are two types of will that characterize his psychology, his thinking process. One is the real will, the other one is the actual. The real will is related to divine consciousness. The real will tends to make the individual a human being in the true sense of the term. The real will tends to motivate the individual to cultivate the divine values of liberty, equality, and fraternity in his own life and in his interactions with others. Whereas actual will is the selfish will. It tends to make the individual selfish because it is concerned with physical body. Why the individual tends to become selfish? Why are you selfish? Because my physical body is different from your physical body. I am concerned with the maintenance of my physical body. You are concerned with the maintenance of your physical body. So bodies are different. Therefore, real will, which is related to the physical body of the individual, makes the individual selfish. This is the reason. But actual will, real will is the universal will. It is present in all of you. Therefore, it cannot become selfish. It is the consciousness, divine consciousness. Divine consciousness is present in all of you. Therefore, there is sameness, similarity of real will which is present in each of you. My real will is same as your will. But my actual will is different from your actual will. Because we have different body. This is the composition of man as made by God. So Hegel is of the opinion that human psychology, his motivations, his thinking, his activities are determined by these two different types of wills. The real will and the actual will. But the most important will of the individual is a real will. Because it is the divine will. It constitutes the divine self or true self of the individual. Therefore, Hegel says, the real will must be higher than the actual will. The real will must precede the actual will. The real will must take precedence or priority over the actual will. Because real will is more important than the actual will of the individual. If at any time in your life, in your thinking or activities, there would be a conflict between these two wills. These two wills, by their nature and propensities, are different and conflicting. Real will tends to make you selfless. Actual will tends to make you selfish. So there takes place a constant conflict in your psychology in between the real will and the actual will. But as a human being, as the highest of God's creation, what you are expected to do, you must give precedence to your real will. The most priority to this real will than the actual will. Why? Because consciousness must take precedence over your physical living. Consciousness is God's gift. Consciousness is the presence of God. It is not only the gift, it is also the presence of God. That makes you living, that makes you a living entity, give you a life, and that life is that consciousness. What is that life? This consciousness of it. So whenever there would be any conflict between these two wills, you must give priority to the real will as against your actual will. So then only you can become a human being in the true sense of the term. You can realize your true self, the divine self. So the aim of life of the individual or human being is attainment of divinity. Attainment of divinity. The aim of life of the individual is not merely physical happiness that we have already discussed in case of Lindenthal. Because physical happiness is concerned with this physical body, and physical body is not important. What is more important is your consciousness, your humanity. Therefore, Hegel says that the individual, if at all he intends to live a human life, he must give priority to his real will for attainment of the ultimate aid of his life, that is his salvation, his liberation, his moral development or spiritual development. So the individual is expected to be a moral individual, a rational individual, a divine individual. And there lies the salvation of the individual, liberation of the individual. So attainment of so individuals' ultimate aim of life is moral, spiritual. So in Hegel's conceptualization, every human being is expected to think and undertake activities for attainment of its spiritual life, moral life. This is the end of life. The aim of life is not merely to eat food and sleep like a pig. We are human beings. The aim of life is moral, attainment of moral, spiritual, salvation, liberation, attainment of divinity to the greatest extent. Therefore, Hegel says every human being must aim at cultivation of these divine qualities of liberty, equality, and fraternity. These qualities which issues from the essence of man, that is freedom. Freedom is the essence of this, and also therefore freedom is the essence of human being. Values of equality and values of fraternity, these are the derivative from freedom or liberty. So the essence of gist of God is freedom. Similarly, the essence of human being is also freedom. And cultivation of the divine values of liberty, equality, and fraternity today. To become a human being in the true sense of the term. To realize his divine self, which is his true self. To attain the ultimate aim of his life, which is spiritual death, liberation, salvation. How can the individual realize this divine qualities? And here Hegel says that God desires that his essence, freedom, which is also present in human consciousness, must be concretized, must be embodied concretely. How can the individual who realize his freedom, which is the essence of his morality or humanity, which is the essence of his divinity? He says, only when God would, or that universal consciousness, which he calls as God, would concretize himself, manifest himself. Only when the formless would take a form. See here, again, the philosophical question. God is formless, he says. But at the same time, he says that the God who is formless wishes to take a form. Why? To help human beings to realize concretely, actually, this divine qualities of liberty, equality. So the formless must take a form. As we see also in our Sanatanic scriptures and mythologies, incarnation of God. Ram had come, Krishna had come as human beings, taken a form. Originally, God is formless, Nirakar Brahma. But that Nirakar Brahma must take a form as human beings, as Rama or Krishna, or as Nrsimha. Why all these avatars? Same type of thinking here. Because to enable human beings on this earth who have concrete body, who live a concrete life, to realize the divinity, they will show the path how to realize the divinity. They will enable human beings in reality to realize the divinity, which is also the essence of God. So Hegel says the formless God, which is present in universal consciousness, wishes to take a concrete form. And how he will take a concrete form? Through a process of cosmic evolution. So in Hegelian conceptualization, there commences a process of cosmic evolution. That is divine evolution. Everything is divine here. So God, who is present in universal consciousness, as formless, wishes to initiate the process of cosmic evolution. So a process of evolution takes place because of the will of God. God desires, God wills. A process of evolution commences. A process of evolution through which social institutions are created. So that human beings on this earth would be enabled to realize their divinity, their true self. They would be enabled to cultivate the values of liberty, equality, and fraternity, and to live an objectively good life, attain salvation, attain moral life. This is the belief of people. So, because of the will of God, God Himself takes a form, takes an incarnation. The formless takes a form through a process of cosmic evolution. It is called cosmic evolution because it is a process of divine evolution. A process of evolution through which God wishes to manifest Himself, concretize Himself, wishes to take a distinct form, a shape, so that you can say, yes, this is God. As we call today, Krishna is God, Rama is God. Because the formless we do not see. We cannot think of the formless. Why there are idols in temples? Why? If you say God is Nirakar Brahma, how can you imagine? You cannot think it. You cannot think anything which you have not seen through your naked eyes, physical eyes. Imagination or thinking is not possible. Speculation is not possible. So we cannot think of the Nirakar Brahma, the formless consciousness. Therefore, we need a murti, an idol. Not that God is present in the idol, no. Why do you go to Shiva temple or Krishna temple or Ram temple? Because in that idol of Ram or Krishna or Shiva, you imagine the presence of God. You can think of, you can speculate the formless through a form. This is highly philosophical. The formless can be meditated, it can be understood through a form. Similarly, it is the case. So God wishes to help His creations. Human beings is highest creation. Enable human beings to realize their divinity by making Himself present physically through a form. And therefore, He initiates a process of evolution. This is cosmic evolution because this is willed by God. This is divine evolution. It is through this process of cosmic evolution a number of social institutions are created as willed by God. And the God ultimately manifests Himself, concretizes Himself. The formless takes a concrete form, and we can identify, yes, this is God. And we can render obedience to that God. So that we can attain salvation, liberation. We can attain spiritual, highest level of spiritual development, moral development. And Hegel explains this process of cosmic evolution through which varieties of social institutions are created and the formless takes a form. He divides and conceptualizes an original concept, the theory of evolution, social evolution. This is the most original concept of Hegel. And that theory of social evolution, through which the formless takes a form, ultimately is famously known as Hegel's theory of dialectical idealism. As students of political thought, you must understand that this theory of dialectical idealism, because this is his original contribution. In understanding the process of cosmic evolution through which varieties of social institutions are created, embodying the divine consciousness, and ultimately, God takes a definite form to help mankind, human beings, to realize that a divinity is stated. So this theory of dialectical idealism is a theory of social evolution, which is willed by God, therefore it is cosmic, which is guided by God, which is motivated by God. So when this theory comes for the purpose of explanation in any examination, you must be in mind that this is a theory of social evolution of people. A process of social evolution which is will, intended, directed and guided by God. Through which a number of social institutions are created and ultimately God manifests himself, concretizes himself in a definite state of form, with the purpose of helping his highest creations, human beings, to realize their truth. See how God is merciful. He comes to this world to help you, so that you can become good human beings, so that you can attain divinity. Human beings are not able to realize their own divinity because they come under heavy pressure of their actual will. There are two wills in the individuals, real will and actual will. One is divine will, the other one is bodily will. One is selfless, the other one is selfish. But human beings, they are tempted by bodily considerations. So their divinity becomes overshadowed, tarnished, blemished by the evil consequences or evil implications of their actual bodily considerations. Therefore, there is a need to help mankind. That is the intent for creating this process of social evolution. The intention is to help these creations, human beings who are the highest of this creation, to attain divinity, to rescue human beings, not to be tempted by their selfish will, actual will, not to go down and down, not to go to hell, but to go to heaven. That is the will of God. To help mankind to go to heaven, to attain salvation. God wishes to take an incarnation, a shell. He wishes to come down to this earth from heaven. This is the intention of this concept of dialectical idealism. Why it is called a dialectical idealism? What it is? It is a theory, a conceptual statement. It is theory for explaining the process of social evolution. How? The very word speaks out. Dialectical idealism. The process of social evolution is dialectical in the sense that it moves dialectically. There is no process of linear evolution. It is not in a straight line. This is linear evolution. Evolution doesn't proceed on a straight line. It proceeds in a zigzag way. This is dialectical. And why it is called dialectical idealism? What is that idealism? Idealism is derived from the word idea. And idea is universal consciousness, God. Idea is universal consciousness. So what moves dialectically in the process of evolution? What moves? What is the moving entity? It is idea. It is universal consciousness. So idea moves, not matter. You must understand it so that you can understand subsequently our discussions on Marxian concept of dialectical materialism. These are not identical, very different. But Marx has borrowed the concept of dialectical evolution from Hegel. And in place of word idealism, he has inserted the word materialism, simply. So, as students of political science, these questions were put in an examination, in an interview. What is dialectical idealism, Hegel? How it is different from dialectical materialism of Marx? I have not found any student in any interview replying to this question correctly. This is a sorry state of affairs. A shame for students of political science. So here, so far as Hegel's theory of dialectical idealism is concerned, it is in the process of social evolution. It is idea or consciousness which moves dialectically, not in a linear way, but in a zigzag way. So the evolving entity is consciousness. And what is that consciousness? It is God. Capital idea is God. God is present as universal consciousness. And that God who is considered as universal consciousness, that idea moves dialectically in a process of social evolution, and therefore that process of social evolution is called as dialectical idealism. This is the meaning of the theory of Hegel, theory of dialectical idealism. It is a theory, a conceptual scheme which explains the process of social evolution, through which the evolving entities, idea or God or universal consciousness that moves dialectically and produces a number of social institutions, ultimately with the manifestation of God, incarnation, concretization. So ultimate end of that process of evolution is incarnation of God, manifestation of God, concretization of God. But the process of that evolution moves dialectically, and the evolving entity is idea, consciousness. So this theory of dialectical evolution, this theory of dialectical idealism is the original theory of Hegel. He has designed it to explain the incarnation of God on this earth. By way of creating a number of social institutions for helping mankind, the highest of his creation, to realize the true self, to attain divinity. Not to go downgrade, but to go upward, to heaven. Salvation is the aim. Spiritual development is the objective. And how he explains it? This is the theory, the conceptual scheme of explaining the process of dialectical idealism as a process of social evolution. And Hegel says that in this process of cosmic evolution, which proceeds dialectically, in which the evolving entity is the idea of consciousness, creates the first social institution. What is it? Named as family. Family is the first social institution which is created in the process of cosmic evolution, as willed, intended, directed, and guided. Family is a concrete institution. We can see the family. We can observe it, its activities. It is not something imaginary or speculative or ethereal. It is a concrete institution, social institution. So this concrete institution, family, is created first in the process of social evolution, as willed by God, directed by God. And this family is composed of husband, wife, and children. See here, the members of the family. Husband, wife, and children taken together are the members. They constitute the family. That's the first social institution, which is made because of the will of God. God gives the motivation. Yes, form the family. A male and female must come together, live together, beget children, and constitute a family. And this family, as the first social institution, is the manifestation of the divine consciousness. It is also a consciousness. Every physical institution contains within it a consciousness. Without consciousness, nothing can emerge. So the basis of formation of family is a consciousness, which is a part of the divine consciousness. What type of consciousness it is? It is a consciousness. It is a psychological tendencies which tends to make the individual look toward God, look toward divine, to cultivate the divine values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. So members of the family, they are characterized by a consciousness in which every member of the family tends to become moral, rational, and social. Family is formed because of the sociability of the members, because of rationality of the members. It continues to exist because of morality of the members. So family is a moral institution. A family is created as willed by God not merely for satisfaction of the physical needs of life, for food, clothes, shelter, and warmth. Physical needs of life, yes, must be satisfied, but that is not the end of human life. The ultimate end of human life is to become moral, rational, sociable, divine. So the consciousness of the members of the family, or family consciousness, what we term, is characterized by rationality, sociability, morality, taken together divinity. So here every member of the family leads a moral life. Every member of the family is prepared to sacrifice its self for the good of other members of the family. Every member of the family sacrifices himself for the good of the family. That is what even today we find it. The father sacrifices for his children. Children sacrifice themselves for the father. So family is an institution of sacrifice, selflessness. And therefore family exists and continues to exist. The members of the family are bound together by love and affection. Therefore, the father and mother care for the children, and the children care for the parents. Of course, at present, this tendency is gradually declining, but the children are not caring for the old parents. And therefore, the family system is disintegrating at present. And it will vanish after 50 years. There will be no family on this earth if the tendency continues. There will be no marriage system on this earth if the tendency continues. Even Supreme Court has given the order for live-in relationship. This is the situation. Gradually, family is declining. Divinely, why? Divine values are declining because of the declining of family. Why morality is declining? Because of the disintegration of the families. Family is the first school for the children. Parents are the first teachers for the children. Family is essentially a moral institution. And so long as family is a moral institution, society will survive. Society will develop. Culture and civilization can grow. Otherwise, society will disappear. So what Hegel says here? The first social institution which is created is the family, where the members of the family are bound together by the nexus of mutual love and affection and sacrifice. They work together. Everyone is caring for the good of others. All members of the family work together for satisfaction of the physical needs of life. At the same time, they give priority to satisfaction of the moral needs of life. They lead a moral life together. This is the consciousness of family. And this family is considered by Hegel as this thesis. Was the first step in the process of dialectical evolution of consciousness or idea. In the dialectical evolution of society, through which the evolving reality or entity is the consciousness. The first institution is the family, and it is considered as the thesis of this process of evolution. It is the thesis because it is characterized by positive qualities and attributes. These qualities and attributes are divine qualities. The qualities of liberty, equality, fraternity, these are characterized here among the members. There is perfect fraternity among them. Self-sacrifice, mutual love and affection. So because of its positive qualities, this institution can be the first institution in the process of social evolution. In the dialectical process of social evolution, it is termed by Hegel as the thesis. Because of its positive qualities. And the family gradually grows through the natural process of propagation of human life. A number of families, pluripotent families are created. And there takes place or occurs the second process or second stage in the process of social evolution, and that is this civil society. So when family enlarges, a number of families are formed. Hegel says the second stage or second step in the cosmic process of social evolution takes place. And that is the civil society. Civil society is therefore a plurality of families, a number of families living together on a definite territorial site. And this civil society is also characterized by the definite pattern of consciousness, universal consciousness. Don't think that the civil society has no consciousness. No. Without universal consciousness, nothing can take place, nothing can emerge. Family reflects and manifests one pattern of consciousness. And the opposite pattern of consciousness is revealed by this civil society, the second stage in the process of social evolution. And what is the consciousness of the members who compose the family? Sorry, who compose the civil society? The members of the civil society, they reveal or manifest a distinct pattern of divine consciousness, characterized by negative qualities. Family as a consciousness characterizes positive qualities of life. But civil society as a pattern of consciousness, divine consciousness, characterizes or represents negative qualities of life. In the universal consciousness, both the negative and positive qualities are present. Look at yourself. In your consciousness, both these two type qualities are present. You are good as well as bad simultaneously. Sometimes you tend to be good, sometimes you tend to be bad, sometimes you tend to be selfish, sometimes you tend to be selfless. So in the same human being, we have divine qualities as well as demonic qualities. Divine qualities are also in us, and demonic qualities are also in us. In the same individual who have qualities of Ram, at the same time qualities of Ravan, simultaneously. It depends on the situation in which one type of qualities will be manifested as against the other. Sometimes we become Ram, sometimes we become Ravan. No one is free, even God. God, that universal consciousness, also contains both these qualities. Nothing can take place without His will. Even in that universal consciousness, there is present divine qualities as well as demonic qualities. Both these type of qualities are present, even in God. What about those in our scriptures that we know? What about the Asuras, Daityas? From where they have been born? From the same Vishnu, Madhu and Kaitava were born. If you read that, the scriptures, you can understand that Hegel's concept if you refer to or these scriptures also. From God, demons have been born. Therefore, what in this case, what Hegel says, in the same universal consciousness, there are good qualities, positive qualities, also negative qualities. But God is known by His positive qualities. Those are the dominating qualities of God, divine qualities, therefore these are called. Not demonic qualities are suppressed. Evil tendencies in the same individual are suppressed. Then only you can become a human being. But it doesn't mean that your evil qualities are absent. No. All these type of qualities, tendencies are present in each of us, in our consciousness. What is necessary is we must suppress the evil tendencies, our bad tendencies, and we must champion our good tendencies, human tendencies. That is necessary. And here, so far as civil society, the second stage is concerned, it is characterized by consciousness with negative qualities of life. And what are the negative qualities? Here, so far as the composition of the civil society is concerned, it is composed of single, isolated, solitary, atomistic individuals. For every individual is alone. In case of family, every individual is a member of the family, total whole, bound together by nexus of love and affection. Here, as a member of the civil society, every individual stands alone. C has a negative quality. Every individual is more concerned with his physical existence, bodily existence. And he comes under the overpowering influences of his actual will, becomes selfish. Every individual becomes more and more concerned about his physical comforts of life, material development as the ultimate aim of life. Therefore, every individual engages himself with every other individual of the society, with competition, jealousy, envy, hatred, ill will, murder, violence. These are the negative aspects. So this consciousness of the civil society is characterized by negative qualities such as jealousy, competition, envy, perfidy, treachery, violence, murder, assassination, and the ultimate end is material. Spiritual development is not the aim of the individual as a member of the civil society. Spiritual development is the aim of family for each of its members. Because here as a member of the family, the individual aims for his moral development, spiritual development. He is concerned about the positive qualities of life. But same individual, when he becomes a member of the civil society, he becomes oriented to material development, competition. That is what we come to that. As a member of the family, you sacrifice yourself for the good of the family. But as a member of the society, you compete with others. You do not care for the good of others. You do not hesitate to do harm to others, kill others, do violence to others. This is the reality. Because the consciousness here differs. Whether you are giving importance to your actual will or whether you are giving importance to your real will, it depends upon your membership in a definite institution. When you become member of the family, you give more importance to your real will. When you become member of the civil society, you give more importance to your actual will. This is the difference. So this civil society is considered by Hegel as the antithesis. In the process of dialectical evolution of consciousness. It is the antithesis because it is characterized by negative qualities of life. And Hegel says, the family is characterized by positive qualities, but when it enlarges, expands, and civil society is formed, it is characterized by negative qualities. So these two institutions come into conflict. There is contradiction. Contradictions in between the qualities of family, positive qualities of family, and the negative qualities of the civil society. And it is the contradiction between these two institutions, family and the civil society. There is felt a need for synthesizing the contradictions, the conflict between them, A synthesis must be found out. There must emerge a synthesis. Contradictions must be resolved if humanity is to progress and to live. And such a synthesis occurs in the process of cosmic evolution. And Hegel says the ultimate stage or state which is formed in this state. This state is the synthesis, therefore. The synthesis of that long process of cosmic evolution through which consciousness or idea moves dialectically and produces necessary social institutions, first family, subsequently civil society, and ultimately the state. So state is the end product. State is the culmination of that long process of cosmic evolution. The process of cosmic evolution would stop there, says Hegel, with the formation of the state. Because state is the synthesis. It synthesizes the positive and negative contradictions between family and the civil society. It reconciles the contradictions so that humanity can exist and can grow and develop through time. So that human beings can attain the ultimate aid of their life, their true self. And this state is also characterized by a definite consciousness. And this is the concretization of that divine consciousness, he says. God, who is formless, takes the form in the form of the state. And this consciousness of God reconciles the positive quality of family and the negative quality of civil society by reconciling the end or ultimate end of these two institutions. The ultimate end of family is spiritual development. The aim of civil society is material development. And the aim of the state, by reconciling these two, champions both the spiritual development and material development of people as a whole, giving priority to spiritual development as against the material development. So the development of body is necessary, development of spirit, of soul is necessary, he says. And what the state does as the incarnation of God, embodiment of God, it provides congenial conditions in which all material needs of life would be fulfilled perfectly. I want to remember some state. At the same time, each member of the state must be enabled to realize its spiritual development. Must be enabled to attain moral development, salvation, liberation. Must attain or must realize his true self, that is divine self. Must lead a truly human life, a divine life. So the competition, jealousy, hatred of civil society are suppressed. Only material development, which is one type of positive aspect of civil society, related to physical body of man, is taken off. So state is concerned with the material development of the people for satisfying the physical needs of life. Because body must be maintained, sustained, nourished and permitted. At the same time, that is not all. The essence of man is his divinity. Man is the highest of God's creation. And therefore he is considered to be the divine being. The divinity is his essence. So the moral development of man, spiritual development of man must be given priority as against its material. So state brings about both material and spiritual development, giving priority to spiritual development as against the material. And it creates conditions in which the totality of human life, aiming at both material and spiritual development, can be complete. And this state, therefore, embodies the universal consciousness completely. This state is therefore the incarnation of God on this earth. God has come down to this earth in the form of a state. The formless has taken the form through this process of cosmic evolution in creating necessary social institutions. First family, then civil society, and ultimately the state. So state is the final embodiment. State is the final culmination of that long process of social evolution. And it is the complete manifestation of that divine consciousness which is formless. The formless has taken a form. As if God has come down to this earth in the formless. Therefore, Hegel says, this was his famous statement. This state is the divine idea as it exists on the earth. It is the march of God. This is a famous statement of Hegel. It very often comes in the examination for explanation. State is the divine idea. State is identical with God, same as God. The formless is taken. It is the incarnation. It is the embodiment of that divine consciousness. We cannot see the universal consciousness, but we can see God, we can see state. And by becoming a member of the state, we can realize our true self, that is divine self. In rendering obedience to the state, we can realize our true self, the divine self. In obeying the state, we can attain our true freedom. There will be perfect freedom, perfect liberty, perfect equality, perfect fraternity among the members of the state. Both moral development and material development of all members of the state can become possible only through their membership in the state. State is therefore the divine idea that exists on the earth, as if God has come down in the form of the state. It is the march of God on earth. God has come down. Therefore, Hegel requires all human beings to become members of the state and to render unquestioning obedience to state authority. And how the state works? The state works through its agent, the government. What is the structure of the government and functions of the government? We shall discuss tonight. Questions? Physical needs are common. Your body is to be maintained, body is to be sustained, body is to be nourished, body is to be. So these are the physical needs of life, whether it is Bentham, or whether it is Hegel, whether it is Plato, whether it is Aristotle, the same. These are the needs related to this physical world. Therefore, these are the physical needs of life.
The real will must precede over the actual will. The statement of it.
Real will
precedes over the actual will.
Yes.
The mechanism
That is what he has said. You must obey this state. Then only you can realize your real will as against your actual will. If you do not obey this state, you go against your real will. Because state represents your real will. State is the divine will, divine consciousness. It is God who has come down here. This is the theory of divine origin of state. This state originates in divine will. And the state is divine by nature, divine in end. This state is a divine institution. Therefore, you must obey the divine, and then only you will be free. If you do not obey this state, you are not free. Because it is the march of God.
Sir, formless to form awareness process it should be induced with one of the form of it.
That God has induced you to undertake activities, to form the family first, then civil society, and then the state. So you are doing activities. God works through you. So you are the medium. So human beings are used, motivated by God, to do necessary activities for the formation of family, then civil society, and ultimately the state. They form the state. Because of motivations given by God. So that consciousness is the motivating factor. So whatever you do on the basis of God's will. That is His concept. And you create necessary social institutions. Help in creating the necessary social institutions. You yourself cannot create, but you can help create. So you are just a pawn in the hands of God, a puppet. That is what all religious scriptures say. Even in Gita in 18th chapter, concluding chapter, what Krishna says? You must at least learn for the sake of information and knowledge. Whether you believe it or not, but you must know. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridaya janadisthati bhramayan sarvabhutani jantra rudhani manayana. Jantra rudhani, just like a puppet. He is present in your heart but moves you. You have no will of your own. You have no choice of your own. You are moved. You are motivated for activity because of the directions. This is what ultimately Krishna says to us. Therefore, what says? Be a medium. Do you say that you are fighting against the Kauravas? No. You are not fighting. You are just a puppet. I am giving you directions to fight. If you believe, then you can understand. Otherwise, you will get sense. तुम जहाँ करूछ तुम आज जहाँ से क्लास आसुछ इधर गछर पत्र टे ना हेबानी करे जो भाव तुम्हें करूछ वो ये किसी ना वो खाली नाचुछ अभी रोल प्ले करूछ then the direction such a role then the varieties course guda koluch drama course mane play guda koluch right ki jamana kare je acho jamana onne kare je hobo role play koluch boda bhai
in the instance of social evolution in family active members of the family were stabilized
yes
then how they become selfish when they
अरे तो भीतर तो फिर नेगेटिव क्वालिटी अच्छे की नहीं तुम भीतर है
सर फैमिली टाइम कितने देखा वाला नेगेटिव
फैमिली का ना देखा जाए पर जेहेतु सर दे कम अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ देयर रियल जतले एक्चुअल विल को इन्फ्लुएंसर पड़े आछन सतरस माने बदमाशी डेमोनिक क्वालिटीज असुर प्रवृत्ति आसी सब मनुष्य भितर दुईटा जाक टेंडेंसी होछ देवत्व भी अछि असुरत्व भी अछि केही सत्र फ्री नहीं के कदाने कम बेसी अछि की काहे सप्रेस कर देवता मान को भितर असुरत्व नहीं ना इंद्र केते खराब काम करछि जानि सब प्रणाम करूछ व्हाट अबाउट अहल्या तुम इंद्र की कहउछ त तुम देवता हिसाब रे पहले दिन पत्थर हेला पाषाण हेला बोले रामायण में कहउछ केते ला इलिसिट रिलेशन रखले वाले संगे गौतम ऋषि अभिशाप दे जा पता नहीं जाती एटा तुम स्वर्ग रो देवता रो गाछ देवत्व तो मध्य थिला किंतु स्वर्ग राजा से देवता
एग्जिस्ट करूला से नेगेटिव
तो ही क्वालिटीज अछि सेथिरे जे कोन से पूजा रे देखो सत्यनारायण पूजा रे धर्माय नमः अधर्माय नमः पापाय नमः पुण्याय नमः काई की कराइसी से सब जिंस रो आधार सत्यनारायण पूजा रे रखो मंत्र पूजा पापाय नमः पुण्याय नमः सब एवरीथिंग इज
मेटेरियल डेवलपमेंट सिविल सोसाइटी पे छै और स्टेट पे छै किंतु स्टेट रे
स्टेट रे स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट के एम्फासिस दिया होय छै देन योर मेटेरियल प्रायोरिटी इज गिवन टू स्पिरिचुअल मनुष्य करबार चेष्टा डिवाइन करबार चेष्टा तो भीतर देवत्व संचार करबार चेष्टा सब तुम असलत्व कमी दो वो काम ना है वो काम ना है तुमको से पहले छाड़ी दे संसार तांकर रिफ्लेक्शन पर तुम आसीछ ना तांकर इच्छा है तांकर अंश हिसाब से आसीछ तुमको रैशनैलिटी देले मोरालिटी देले चिंता करबा शक्ति देले भल खराब भाबा रियल विल भी देले एक्चुअल विल भी देले शरीर तो दिशा में एक्चुअल विल देले तो तुम्हें क्या बोलछो माया वशत अज्ञता वशत आउट ऑफ इग्नोरेंस or even intentionally give more importance to your physical body material comforts के बोलछो than to spiritual either intentionally or unintentionally so that is the material development is very important so you are engaged in conflict with others so you violence harm करो माने पापाय करो पाप करो माने you have to take consequences जास करूछ देन अनंत संभव आसीछ जे सृष्टि थिबा तक सदे कामना रे विनाश रे दुख रे विनाश अरे बुद्ध दोष है कुछ तुम्हार कामना थिबा पर्यंत मते एटा दरकार तुम जन्म हो तुम सो बी फ्री फ्रॉम डिजायर्स that is the advantage
सर ये फैमिली रे इतले सेल्फलेसनेस होउ जे सिविल सोसाइटी के आसु जेटा सेल्फिशनेस हे जाउ जे का जे लोग एक्चुअल विल तो प्रभावित हो जे सेटा ठीक होचे किंतु सेल्फिश भी तो रही विषय
बॉडी के तो फिर मेंटेन करवा नहीं
सेल्फलेस भी तो रही नहीं
ବାସସ୍ଥାନ ଦରକାର ମୋତେ ଭଲ ଘର ଦରକାର
ହଁ, ନାଇଁ।
ମୋତେ କମ୍ଫର୍ଟ ଦରକାର
सोसाइटी में भी तो एंता भी लोग एग्जिस्ट पर्सन ना जिनमें कि सेल्फलेसली
ସେମାନେ
सोसाइटी
ବହୁତ ମାଇନରିଟି ସେମାନେ ନଗଣ୍ୟ ଅଛି ଅଧିକାଂଶ ଲୋକ ଅସୁର ପ୍ରବୃତ୍ତି ଆସେ एक्चुअल विल इन्फ्लुएंस के आशा କରୁଛି बॉडी ओरिएंटेड ହେଇଯାଉଛି ଆଉ ସମାଜରେ ଯାହା କିଛି ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଏ ଦୁର୍ନୀତି କାହିଁକି ହେଉଛି ଅରାଜକତା କାହିଁକି ହେଉଛି we forget our divinity morality
कोई भी जिनसी लोग के भी हमें
we become more and more body oriented comforts oriented material comforts oriented ସେଥିରେ ତ କରପ୍ସନ ହେଉଛି ନା ନାରେ କାହିଁକି ପଇସା କରପ୍ସନ କରିବ material comforts ରେ କରୁଛୁ so if you give more importance to material comforts you will be corrupt and you will be demon तुम्हारा आधा पतन होଉଛି ମଣିଷ ନାହିଁ and that is gradually increasing in contemporary society gradually increasing people become more and more materialistic in their behavior
बोला मैं जाके भी देखता हूँ फैमिली विद सैक्रिफाइस करवा ही करवा
निश्चय फैमिली भीतर काहे तुमे सैक्रिफाइस करूछ मेंबर ऑफ द सिविल सोसाइटी के काहे
नहीं
करबो
कर से जहाँ भी ଟିକେ सेल्फिश है जी हेले भी असुर हो कि देखो जी भी हो से फैमिली लाइक करवा ही से सेल्फलेस ही रहबा तो सोसाइटी के असला पर से निजर टाइप के जह देख
कंपटीशन करवा है हम मन पोषण मु केते बेसी कमाई मु केते घर प्राइमी मु केते ग्रेटर बेटर मोस्ट प्राइमी इतना जाऊ प्रेजेंट प्रोग्राम So what about tomorrow? As for the class, if you do not have to inform me, we're discussing Hegel's model of the divine state. Yes. We've started our discussion on Hegel's model of the divine state, specifically with reference to the foundational concept on human nature. The modern state of Hegel is designed on Hegel's basic assumption, the postulate of human nature. It is the foundational concept therefore. The entire edifice of the divine state of Hegel is built on the nature and propensities of human beings as assumed and postulated by Hegel. And regarding the foundational concept, as I have already noted, man is essentially a divine. This is his foundational concept, his belief. And when he says that man is essentially divine, he means that in man there is the highest part of the divine of God in man. Man is a divine being because God is present in man to the greatest extent. And that God, the concept of God, so far as Hegel's understanding is concerned, is formless. God is formless. He doesn't have a form. The Vedanta concept of Nirakar Brahma. has no akar, no thought, no say,